I now call Sheng Chen from Anderson Junior College to further the proposition's case from the point of environmental groups and public transport companies.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before I move on, I have 2 points of contention with the previous speaker. Firstly, he said that we should not charge companies the higher vehicle usage charges for the welfare of them. And secondly, they feel that it would be detrimental for their business if we incur these high vehicle usage charges. Now I prove to you why we should also charge the higher vehicle usage charges. Firstly, I'll build on the proposition view just now about the social cost of vehicle usage. Vehicle usage brings about social costs such as air pollution and congestion. Air pollution is detrimental to our health. According to a German study, people who are exposed to fumes of heavy traffic regularly have higher chance of hardening of arteries, which is associated with higher risk of heart attack. And according to World Health Organization, about 2 million premature deaths is caused each year due to air pollution. The above statistics and studies show how deadly air pollution is and the social cost that it bring to the society. Hence, there's a need for us to do something now and prevent and to reduce the unnecessary death and danger bring about with air pollution. And second detrimental cause is congestion. There will be more time spent on the road. This will mean loss of work hours. Imagine a worker who is late for half an hour every day. He'll be late for 2.5 hours each week and make up 130 hours per year. Imagine how much how much productivity is lost and how much the company will suffer and how the economy will suffer in this.
Point, sir.
No, sir. And during emergency, with more time spent on the road will be a life and death matter as ambulance need to evacuate dying patient to the hospital. Any more time spent on the road will be life and death matter. Hence, these social costs need to be transferred to the road user and not excluding the logistic company who also use the road. Do you mean that logistic company deliver service but they do not pollute the environment? The social cost that vehicle usage bring about, logistic company also bring about. Hence, we cannot just charge private vehicle usage and not charge logistic company as not fair to the society. Moving on to the second point, they say that higher vehicle usage is detrimental to their business, but we beg to differ. Because higher vehicle usage charges will make people reduce vehicle usage as because of the high price, the demand for it will decrease. Hence, number of cars on the roads will be decreased, and they will be able to make more delivery in one day, increasing the profit. This can be proved by an article published on 8 July 2008. After ERP gantries are placed, there is a decrease of 30% road user along Singapore River, ma'am. And the speed of vehicle usage increased from 6 km per hour to 26 km per hour. Well, sir, I prove to you that this will increase the efficiency of the logistic company. Now I move on to my main substantive.
Point, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir, another Straits Times poll stated that only 1.4% of users actually change their driving habits if charges are raised.
Well, 1.4 is still a sizable amount of number. The proposition has just mentioned about a huge amount of cars that Singapore have. 1.4%, how much do you think will be it? It will be up in the thousand, 10 of thousand. 10 of thousand of cars changing their travelling habit will be able to impact the environment enough, even though it's still a small amount of percentage.
Point, sir.
No, sir. Now I'll move on to tell you why public transport will be able to make the society better off, even though the vehicle usage increase. And I'll tell you through the 3 C's that public transport provide. The first C is cheap. As compared to private vehicles, to one who uses private vehicle who spend $500 to $600 per month on maintenance and using, one who take public transport will need to spend about $100 to $200 per month on transportation fee. That's a decrease of 60 to 80% on usage charge. And the next C is convenience. With the downtown line and circle line now under construction, in the future there will be more extensive train system. Thus, travelling to places will take lesser time and more convenience. And the next,
sir?
No, sir, thank you. And the next point is being comfortable. With the implementation of premium bus, which is more comfortable, and there's an increase of frequency of buses and train, and thus the rate of the bus and train being packed will be decreased.
Point, sir.
No, sir. Thus the chance of you being able to find a seat in the transport system will increasing the comfortability. And next, with these three, public transport is also environmentally friendly. As public transport can accommodate more people compared to private vehicles, the emission rate per person will decrease. Hence, this will reduce the pollution and the danger brought about with it, as I mentioned earlier. Hence, I urge you all to go with the proposition. Thank you.
We'll have Zheng Xu of NUS High School of Math and Science to bring us a free market economist and middle income earner view of this policy.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, as a retrenched amateur middle income free market economist who was rejected by MOF and just paid $2 in ERP to come here, I would like to nonetheless still try to frame this motion in economic terms. At the heart of this debate lies the need to find an effective transport solution for our island. Undoubtedly, both sides in this debate recognize that allowing unrestricted and unregulated purchase and use of vehicles will prove detrimental to society's interests due to congestion and increased pollution. As economists, we believe in the power of the free market in efficiently allocating our scarce resources in accordance with supply and demand. However, we do recognize that government intervention is necessary to control the negative effects of goods and services being produced. Nonetheless, we favor the approach that creates... No, thank you, sir, ma'am. We favor the approach that creates the least economic distortions. The objective of all policy relating to this matter is thus to control the number of vehicles on our roads and therein minimizing congestion, pollution, and the like. From high school, we all know that higher taxes will lead to a decrease in demand. Taxes are thus a useful tool for the government to correct for negative externalities in the market. The question thus is, what should the government do? Tax more? No, sir. Ownership charges or usage-based charges such as road usage or fuel taxes. Yes, we need a balance, but unlike in chemistry, a perfectly dynamic equilibrium here is quite hard to come by. As our previous speaker has mentioned, the first concern is that the objective of purchasing a vehicle is to use it. Ladies and gentlemen, ask yourself, after you have purchased a car for tens of thousands of dollars, would a few dollars more in ERP charges deter you from sending your kids to school, ma'am? No, ma'am. Did traffic on the roads improve significantly last year when fuel prices reached their peak? Of course, we do recognize that kiasu Singaporeans will go to great lengths to save even pocket change. But nonetheless, a household has considerable incentive to make good use of expensive capital, which is depreciating rapidly. And higher usage costs can only take away this incentive to a small extent, especially during an economic boom. Yes, sir.
Now, as a free market economist, what are your views on creating an equitable tax structure where you tax people who actually use the roads and contribute to congestion and pollution, and not the people who just own cars and don't use them during peak hours?
We will be addressing this issue throughout our entire script, and we will point out the problems with your approach. So, the end result could still be increased vehicle usage, more seriously affecting the productivity of our nation. In effect, increased specific usage charges will only tend to redistribute and not reduce vehicle flow, which also does not reduce pollution as so desired. One should also consider the cost effectiveness of the proposed methods. The main method of administering specific usage charges today is through ERP. In order to increase usage charges effectively, more gantries have to be set up, requiring significant resources. The Straits Times of 15 December reported that only about 2/3 of respondents to a survey claimed that an increase in ERP had not really reduced traffic, and only about 2% had switched to public transportation as a result of the increase. There's a very simple question that then is, with the administrative resources required to facilitate this increased usage charges, are the payoffs really cost efficient? No, ma'am. And can the government really determine the optimal number of cars at such a micro level and depend on this to a large extent to manage traffic levels on a larger scale? A second problem which could potentially arise could be that vehicle owners could be misinformed with regard to the actual cost of operating such a vehicle. High ownership and low usage charges can put the price of owning a vehicle upfront to buyers. This allows buyers to make an informed decision on whether or not they can actually afford to own a car. In contrast, if we adopt the opposite approach, buyers would only see part of the costs upfront due to the variable nature of usage costs. No, ma'am. This could potentially cause people who cannot really afford the car to think that they can. A car is a depreciating asset. To purchase one, be saddled with a car loan, and not be able to use it is indeed a rather sad state of affairs. No, sir. In light of the recent subprime crisis in the United States, it's especially imperative to ensure that our citizens are able to make informed financial decisions, and our government has repeatedly emphasized the importance of long-term financial planning and living within our means. And to make vehicles deceptively affordable to a large sector of society, especially amidst the economic downturn, is surely not the wisest move.
Point, sir.
No, sir. In effect, due to Singapore's small size and lack of a rural hinterland, cars are not only necessary and can even be considered a luxury good. It is economically unsound to allow a large section of society access to such a luxury good and then in turn make it difficult for them to use it fully. Do we want to waste our nation's scarce resources to import and to sell cars just to let them sit there idle, and our precious space to build multi-story car parks just to house these idling cars? Moving to a usage-based policy so drastically would only defeat the purpose of owning a car and result in our scarce resources not being used to their maximum potential. In the end, it all boils down to which approach creates the least economic distortions. Can we trust that our nation's scarce resources be used efficiently? If we are going to move towards a usage-based approach to manage traffic, charges such as ERP must aim not only to redistribute as it tends to do now, but more importantly, reduce traffic flow. At this time, can we say it can be achieved? Do we know that if our government, while re-recognize that it's number one in the world in many areas, has enough information to determine the optimal level of traffic on a per-road basis, especially given Singapore's small size and relative lack of alternative routes? It is the aspiration of many in our society to own a car, but it is also their aspiration to use it. At present, we cannot say that this approach is the most feasible indeed. Thank you.